we break the news that the Shah of Iran wants to come back, or the son of the Shah, is he the son, the grandson, the rightful heir to the Pahlavi throne? Will Donald Trump facilitate that by invading Iran and doing a bit of a regime change? Maybe he'll kidnap the current president of Iran or the supreme leader, Ayatollah Khamenei. I've got Omar Kapati on the line with me, a strong supporter of the Islamic Republic. I think, I don't know, Omar, what would you, is Iran hanging in the balance? Are they next in the crosshairs, or would it be Greenland? Is he going to go for Greenland? What do you think?
Well, Iran is the only power that stood up against another power that were harming young children and babies and so on. So I have this affection and this affinity with Iran, I must say. If they are standing up against evil, surely they're good in a way. But I'm not sure why so many Iranians are protesting against them when, as I say, this nation, the only nation on the planet Earth that decided, hey, you are harming young children, you are starving all sorts of innocent people, we're not going to have it. And for the Iranians, you think this alone would be a pass and they would accept their government or their leadership as great people, or as certainly as people who are against injustice, and that's all we want. And for them to start uprising like this, I'm not sure. I'm missing something. What is it that I'm missing?
Have you seen a lot of the footage from Tehran and other places? It's very difficult to understand how much of it is genuine grassroots. Is it? Some people are saying it's protests about the economy rather than demanding a new regime. There's also tweets that went out from Mossad saying, "We are with you and we're there on the street with you." How much of that we believe, I don't know. Maybe they're just trying to exaggerate their influence, but it would seem that Israel are very much in favor of a regime change in Iran. They have been for many, many years because of what you mentioned. It doesn't mean that the Iranian regime are perfect. Sometimes the government can be very good abroad and not great at home, but the opponents will always try and exaggerate how bad it is. And not all of the Iranian expats that fled the country are in favor of seeing their country getting invaded. I saw someone put online, "Oh, Donald Trump is going to help the Iranian people. One good thing that he could do is help the Iranian people because they're being harmed by their own government." How's he going to help you other than weapons and showing up and harming people to put another different dictator in power that's going to do what he wants instead of what someone else wants? So I'm not
I think it
very.
was Dick Cheney who stated that we will bomb democracy into them. And now a million lives abroad are lost. So perhaps that's his thinking. We will do such a thing. But I think Iran is won't be bullied by the USA. They have the ability to take on USA to some extent. Obviously, USA will ultimately win. But if it comes down to that, and I think this is why probably Donald Trump didn't finish what he started maybe a few months ago when he attempted to. Well, he claimed that he succeeded in what he wished to do, but I think they would have gone further and gone straight to regime change. They said they knew where the Ayatollah was, and they could do anything, but to him if they wanted to. But he doesn't need to worry. And that was a direct message, seemingly, to the leadership of Iran, where he said, "Hey, it's okay. Carry on doing what you're doing." Do they really know where he is? And how on earth did they know where Ismail Haniyeh was in Iran? So the tentacles of USA are very wide and very long indeed.
That's right. Ismail Haniyeh was taken out in Iran. He must have been betrayed by somebody. Have you seen the clip of Trump boasting about how he negotiated with the Taliban? And he said that he showed him a picture of his house while on the phone to a member of the Taliban. And that was enough to get the deal done, as he said. Zara Noor is saying, what we're talking here, well, we started off with Iran. We're going to touch upon Cuba and a little bit of boxing update as well. Bobby Vera is asking, did you research the Heavenly Jerusalem project? I'm sorry, Bobby, I haven't yet. It's on my list of things to do. Research the Heavenly Jerusalem project. Jerusalem al-Quds. And shall we talk about the ICE agent attack?
Just before we touch upon that, may
Go
I
on.
very quickly say that we had a UFC wrestler or Olympic wrestler or a champion lose his life. He protested, and I heard UFC's boss Dana White say that this person, which he got in touch with Donald Trump, and he said, "Look, this person, because of protesting, he was executed." I'm not sure if you're aware of this,
I'm not
but
aware of that. I need that's another to-do list
this
homework.
is not a new story. This is probably about 6 months old. He protested because of economic reasons. Now, what would be the benefit of the Iranian regime executing protesters on the basis of economy? Surely they should come out and say, look, we've got sanctions. We're doing our best. You still have food in the supermarkets. I suppose if you can afford it, but you still have roads, you still have fuel. We're doing our best. We've got sanctions from so many countries. We just can't. We're doing what we can, and just bear with us, and we'll get more done. We promise. Now, that would be the ideal and appropriate response. But just taking lives on the streets makes no sense. Like, what do they expect from that? What does the regime think that once they've shot a fair few people, that would be it? Everyone would just go home. But that didn't happen 50 years ago. The opposite happened. What say you?
Well, I'm reminded of the people that are saying Donald Trump is going to save these people. Their protesters are losing their life in the street, but Donald Trump's regime has just executed someone in the street, haven't they? And the name of the ICE agent has been revealed. I'm not going to say it on here just in case there's any sort of murky legal ramifications, but they've released the name of the ICE agent that took the life of Rene Good. And Rene Good was a campaigner for human rights, and she spent a lot of her youth in Ireland. Apparently, she had connections to the north of Ireland. I'm not going to show the footage, but there is a video that would appear to show her being taken out at very close quarter range, and when she was driving away rather than driving into someone, it seems that she was attempting to drive away, and that agent took her life. 37-year-old wife and mother. Yeah, so that's the country that's going to bring freedom to the world by invading Iran and overthrowing the Ayatollah.
Well, regarding her tragic end, anyone who has seen the video has seen that this poor lady was not attempting to hurt anyone. She was trying to get away for some reason. Now, that cop, that ICE agent, if he is a cop, I guess they are, was in no danger whatsoever. And for him to come out and say that makes no sense. Now, I echo the words of the mayor in their city and state, perhaps, who said that they need to get the hell out of there, not using those exact words. And everything that they have said is BS. And
Uh,
I'm happy that a man has stood up against Trump in that sense. That Trump said no, the guy was in fear of his life and so on, but he wasn't. This is a clear cut lie, and I'm glad that somebody stood up at the press conference and said no, this is BS. His words.
BVS Lord was saying the video I saw, a cop was hit. Was it enough to justify lethal force? And if I'm right, this happened on the anniversary of George Floyd. Is that possible? I think I'm right about that.
I don't think that that was in. It would have been interesting if the lady was African American heritage, but I don't think that that cop at that time was actually
would that have
thinking that.
changed anything? Do you think?
I believe it would have. I believe it would have. It would have been a coincidence, but I think more would have been done uh, in the sense of protesting all over America if the lady was black. I'm not saying it's black privilege, obviously, or anything like that, but we have to confess that when it happens the other way around, you know, we do protest, and rightly so too, in a way.
Yeah, no, I understand that. It sort of it adds another layer to the outrage. Lots of whataboutery. Well, look, shall we mention your favorite boxer of all time, the man that inspired you to lose 2 stone and get in shape?
Just before we touch upon them, if
Okay.
I can ask your viewers something very quickly, ice is everywhere in America, and I know you have a big following in America and beyond. Now,
We
if we
do.
had this, and if we had this in the UK, if we had ICE people turning up and asking people or demanding people or insisting that they leave, would your viewers be okay? I was speaking to one of your regular viewers before you came on live, and he stated that yes, he's from Bashara, his name was, and he said he's from Pakistan, me poor, and if ICE came, he came from there maybe 20 years ago or something, and he said that if ICE came to him in UK and said you have to leave, he would say, fine, thank you very much. Nice to meet you. It's been fun living here and all the best. And he would take the next flight out. Simple as that. I wonder if other people would be happy to do the same. I myself, being born here and not lived in Pakistan, I must say, and my parents and grandparents, I've always seen them here, who passed away in this country. I would be horrified of me personally, but could I fall in that camp as well? Would I need to be somebody put in? And is reform going to take us into that direction? That in time, will I be calling you on this show and saying, hold on, I've been asked to leave England?
Well, may I interrogate you for a moment, as if we're in the airport?
Please.
Did you pack this bag yourself?
Yes, I would say I had my servant do it, but no, sir, I did do it. And I will tell you, on my return from Tunisia at Luton Airport, I was actually accosted by 7 police officers with guns. And they asked me every single thing from the moment I was born to which nursery I went to school, to college. They intrinsically, in detail, went through, they wrote down every single thing that I could remember. And I think they would just, and then they would ask me, I remember the man asked me, what do you think of all this that's going on? You know, me being the comedian.
Oh no, the algorithm has not only did you get booted out of the country, you just got booted out of the video. But I think you're back in.
I am back in.
I'm
not sure what you heard.
I heard that you came home to Luton and it wasn't a very warm welcome. Tommy Robinson wasn't there with a sign saying Triple T with your taxi ready. Oh, my racist, bro. Huh?
Old friend, Tommy, and alongside Andrew Tate, my old buddies, weren't there at the airport, but the coppers were there, and they did interrogate me, and they asked me regarding what my views were on what and I remember him saying, "What have you heard in the mosque?"
He asked me what you heard in the
And
mosque.
I was like, "Well, I haven't been in the what the rumblings going around in the mosque and so on." And I was like, "Well, you know, I haven't been to the mosque in about 15 years. I can't remember what I heard last time because the imam was speaking in a language I don't understand."
Was he from a rival mosque?
No, the officer during the interrogation, he was an English chav. He was a chavvy guy. I remember thinking, how on earth did you get this job? But good for him if he got it on good merit.
Yeah, fair enough. Look, I think you should fly home to Heathrow next time and get the train. Trump, baby. Vance, Trump is right. Justice served. Goid job. ICE. Make America gay again, baby. Okay, and that's from The Silent Hand. And Bobby Veris accusing you of racism against chavs. Well, we'll have none of that.
I don't think that's possible, is it?
Wow. What race are they? Peter Bill saying what happens in Fight Club stays in Fight Club. What happens in the mosque stays in the mosque.
Oh,
Yeah. I mean, what happens in confession, if you're a Roman Catholic and you confess to a murder in confession, the priest is duty bound not to tell anyone. Confessional is sacrosanct. Bit of a strange practice if you're not familiar with it. Bobby Bird's only joking. That's all right, Bobby. We welcome humour on this channel.
by the way, I don't think that the priest actually is restricted from telling the coppers. He has to tell the coppers. He would be holding information and could end up in jail
No, but I
if
think
he doesn't.
because it's his religious duty, he is exempt from revealing whatever has been divulged in the confession box. If anyone is a priest and they know better, let me know. But I believe that is the case because of this Catholic doctrine. Because at some point, Jesus said to his disciples, "Whoever you forgive, I will forgive." Jokey is saying George's Butch political. Okay, lots of great interaction going on in the comments tonight. If anyone does want to phone up, I'll put the number in the title. You're welcome to get through to me and Omar. And we've been talking about Iran. We've been talking about the ICE agents. I did hear that some of the ICE agents do their training in Israel. Not that we like to unnecessarily blame everything on Israel. I even remember when George Floyd's life was taken, people said that it was a technique that's used by the IDF. But there does seem to be some truth to the fact that ICE agents train in Israel. I don't know if you've heard that, Omar. Doesn't surprise
Mhm.
me, but they might train in other countries as well. Bobby Bear saying that would be heavy work hearing confessions. Joker saying Donald Trump idiots in Denmark, Alaska. Lots of cryptic messages here. Greenland is owned by Denmark, and there's only 60,000 or so people that live there. I say only as if it doesn't matter, but it's a
You
vast space of land with a
you
tiny
stated
population.
Denmark. You stated Denmark owns Greenland, but it's interesting that Denmark overall hasn't really backed their land in that sense. They haven't really said, USA, we will not allow you to threaten us like this. They've kind of stayed out of it. The more focus is on the Greenland Prime Minister, where she has kind of politely said, no, we will not have this, we will not accept this, and so on. And you think, as a NATO country as well, you think the rest of the NATO nations would say, hold on, what is going on here? We can't accept this.
Well, when Argentina threatened to take the Falklands, or Las Malvinas, as they call it, Maggie Thatcher went in guns blazing. That was a tiny territory, thousands of miles away. Denmark is a lot closer to Greenland than the Falklands is to
But
the
the
UK.
Falklands is a complete different situation where they believe, Argentinians believe it's their land, and the
Mm.
Brits were shifted there. So America, in that sense, can't have that same type of
Well,
understanding with
America believe it's their land, don't they? It's part of their continent, pretty much, if
oh,
you look at it.
well, then so is, so is other parts of, I guess, I was gonna say so is Hawaii, but it literally
It
is, I guess.
is. I mean,
Mm.
Americans believed in this concept of manifest destiny, that would be an ever expanding civilization. The majority of people that live in Greenland are if this is a politically correct term, Inuit or
Mm.
indigenous native people to the land. They're not white Europeans. And it's not an ethno state. It's administered by Denmark. The local people are majority native, as I say, or Inuit. Some with a bit of Danish admixture. Do you think that leaves them vulnerable? Would we be quicker to defend them if there were more of them, and if they were white Europeans?
Well, if there were white Europeans, I don't think we would intervene because not long ago, Donald Trump stated that why can't we have the Scandinavians here? These lovely. Did he even mention Denmark? Perhaps. Uh, he said, why can't we have these people here instead of getting people from the S-hole countries? Do you recall this?
I do recall that. We've got a couple of important questions. Bobby there is saying, would you say Argentina have more right to the land? We'll come back to that. Yeah, people are saying, lol, that's not manifest destiny. What is manifest destiny, Peter Bill? I thought manifest destiny was something to do with the fact that one day they'd end up going to the moon, and they did. What is manifest destiny? What is the destiny that they're talking about? Greenland isn't for sale, apparently. And what would happen if America take Greenland? They will build an army base. Okay. On the topic of Argentina, by proximity, the Falklands are much closer to
Yeah.
Argentina. But the people that live in the Falklands, I don't know that there were ever any native South American people living there. It would seem that perhaps the first people that went there were of British heritage and they maintained that identity, although they were thousands of miles from their original homeland. So if they want to be part of the UK, what 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 can you say? And even most people from Argentina are not native. They're descended from Spanish people that went to South America and some Italian and German. So I don't think it's just I know we like to have a go at the British because they're the imperial powers, but Argentina are like another imperial power.
I think
I
you may
think
be.
I think the Falklands could be shared between the two. But an interesting fact about the Falklands conflict during that war, when Britain were under attack, when British soldiers were putting their life on the line and losing their life, who sold weapons to Argentina? Israel sold weapons to Argentina during the Falklands War. At that moment, Israel, a close ally of the UK, sold weapons to Argentina. How many people on the far right know that or don't care about that? I wonder if that's news to
Well, it was a
some
while
people.
ago, so I don't think anyone really knows. But what their response would be to that is just business.
Okay. So if Britain sold weapons to Iran during the recent conflict or sold weapons to the the movement from Gaza, Britain sold weapons to Gaza. How would that go down among the Labour Friends of Israel, the Conservative Friends of Israel? Can
When
you
when
imagine?
Francis Nagano was being trained by Mike Tyson. Tyson Fury stated, "This is nothing personal. This is just business. He's gone over there. He's getting paid. He's making
Good
money."
point. Very good point. Um, I don't know
And
which Tyson to do an impression of first. Maybe we'll leave it for later.
I think you took it a bit too far back by stating Argentinians are actually Spanish or non kind of South Americans. I think that's going back a bit too far. And then we can ultimately, we all aren't from there. Ultimately, we all will end up in Africa.
Very true. Very true. We often come back to that point. H Case is saying Denmark subsidizes it by 600 million a year. USA is offering them $2 billion a year. and a COFA membership, which gives them tariff-free access to the USA. Okay, so they're dangling a carrot rather than a stick. Zara77 is saying hi and then looking upset. Must be someone that's trying to talk to you, Omar. Annoyed that you're not listening. And there's some
All
swearing in the chat as well. That's not
oh,
good.
okay. And also, just in addition to what you stated about Argentina, we've also got Gibraltar, and
Yes.
I've not far from us here.
Mm.
And when you meet the Gibraltar people,
Yes.
you wonder, are they are English and they're Spanish at the same time. So
They're,
thankfully, I don't think we're gonna go down that road with Gibraltar. It's always gonna
they're
be
English people with a tan and lots of money, usually. And of course, Gibraltar is Jabal Tariq, the mountain of Tariq. It was at one point in the hands of the Muslims.
why
Tyson
did
Fury's
the why did the Europeans, why have they left that name? Why is so wherever you go all over Spain, Valencia, and so many places have that Islamic heritage, Granada and all these places, Mozambique further down that way, even Hawaii and so on. Why is that? Why don't they just change the name and then we can just erase Islamic history?
It's a good point. I mean, some places where the British went, they
E-
changed the name
Even
of the town.
Portugal, Portugal.
Mhm.
It's Portugal, land of oranges.
That's right. And the Algarve is Algarve on the west.
Mm, yeah.
And of course, the holy city is Fatima. Take from that what you will. Tyson Fury's moving to the Isle of Man. That'll be for tax reasons. He's also coming back. The Isle of Man is another weird one. It's not part of Great Britain. I don't think it's even part of the UK, but is it a British protectorate? The people
Of
that live
course.
there. So it's British territory, but it's not in the UK, if I'm right. But I think they use our money. I mean,
Well, it's not
it's
far, even if it's not in the UK. But we've also had Norman Wisdom, the legend himself. I think he was up there. Am I correct? He was Isle of Man or Isle of Wight, one of them. He did also move to.
one of the islands. Oh dear, one of the earliest cases of Norman wisdom. Because of taxes, we've got Zara mentioning Russia, and she put the Russian flag and also put the Czech Republic flag, but I think that was an attempt at the Russian flag, and then got it right the second time. And we've got Bobby Ver saying it's a good deal, and a lot of my family live in Gibraltar. Apparently, that's each case. We've got people from all over the world. Bobby Ver is saying the Moors. Yeah, we call them the Moors, the North African Muslim civilization that controlled Spain, Al Andalus, which was the Arabic name for the Vandals. The Vandals were a Germanic tribe, I think, that lived in the Iberian Peninsula. So when the Muslims took control, they called it Al Andalus. They don't have a V in the Arabic language. Uh, we've got a question: what you're doing? We're doing the live stream. Gibraltar is a British overseas territory. We've got Gibraltar, we've got the Falklands, Isle of Man. Are there any
And
that I've
Ireland
missed?
as well,
Yeah, the north of Ireland. The
Northern Ireland.
six counties of Antrim, Armagh, Derry, Down, Tyrone, and Fermanagh. So, look, let's come on. Let's mention Prince Nassim. His film is out today over on Sarah Dardasha, our twin channel. That we will be covering that story because we like to cover stories that relate to the Yemeni community. The actor who plays Prince Nassim is not Yemeni. I believe he's an Egyptian actor, but close enough. And Pierce Brosnan is playing his trainer, and there's a bit of controversy because I think Prince Nazim fell out with his trainer years later, and they never really patched things up. But at the movie premiere, it looks like he hasn't had a bad word to say about him or anything. So, it, boxing, so many boxers fall out with their trainers. Barry McGuigan fell out with his promoter, I think, manager, over money, and then history repeated itself um, when he took on the young up and coming Carl Frampton and uh, led him to victory, world champion at two weights, and then they fell out with each other. There's so much
I
corruption.
think absolute power, absolute corrupts. A lot of people seem to change when they get money. Um, Also, we had Teddy Atlas and Mike Tyson. They had a very big falling out.
Yeah,
Where
I've seen the clip where Teddy Atlas says he pulled a gun. Guys, have you seen that? You'd
yes, I have.
you'd need a gun, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, the sad thing about Mike Tyson is, he doesn't seem to apologize for anything. If you've noticed that, he never.
Do you want to tell him
And
that?
I guess, if he's at that stage of life, where no one would ever question him, so he doesn't need to ever apologize. But you think he would say, Teddy, I said some terrible things to you. And even on his one man show that was on Sky the other day, he didn't say, when he was speaking about Teddy Atlas, that I was a kid, I said something so stupid and evil, and I shouldn't have done it. I'm not ashamed of it. But he doesn't say anything like that. He
Do you
goes
want to
through
hear
what.
him? Do you want to hear him do it?
No, for his own sake, yes, not for
Okay.
anyone else. The battle is him versus him, and
Oh
he
man,
needs to.
Teddy, I just want to say that when I was a young kid, I said so many stupid things. I did so many stupid things. My life has been hell. That's There you go, Omar. That's what it might sound like.
We
We can
need
do
that on your next comedy act, by the
impressions.
way.
Yeah, I've never taken the impressions to the stage. They need a little bit of work. I'm, I'm working on my
You
Trump.
have a fan there stating you need to do that again. Perhaps you can do the entire show with Mike Tyson impression sometimes
Oh
in the
man, Mike
future.
Tyson only comes out once in a while. I can't do a whole show with Mike Tyson. It's like it takes too much of my energy. It's not easy. Someone is saying 666. That's alarming. A person is truly revealed once given money and power. And if you would like to reveal me, there's a number up on the top right where you can click on it and donate money. It says £0 at the minute. We're not doing very well. Zara 777. That's three sevens. Make sure. Saying, "Imagine all the people." I think she's singing the great song by John Lennon.
A
Mark, take
beautiful
it away.
song that is too.
Did you hear the
No,
rendition of it?
I had the pleasure and honor, and I believe you also in the audience when it was sung in Palestine House not so long ago.
Oh
And
yeah, I was just
what a
about to mention that.
beautiful
Yeah,
voice that lady had,
yeah.
and what a beautiful song that was, and also what a great and beautiful man John Lennon was, and the Beatles at that time, and who represented and stood for Palestine at that time.
And just like a boxer and his manager, they fell out as well. John Lennon and the Beatles. He walked away from it.
John
And
Lennon became bigger than the Beatles. And
yeah,
this is the thing. And the rest of them, of course, were jealous, and there was always going to be some issues sooner or later. Jealousy, I think it comes down to being the root of all the problems. Even with the breakups that you mentioned between managers and boxers, I think perhaps a lot of managers become jealous. They say, "We made him this, and he's not giving us the appropriate respect." And
yeah.
so there is
I
perhaps.
I read a sad thing about John Lennon recently. I was listening to "Hey Jude, they'll make it bad." I'm sure you're familiar with that one. Apparently, that was originally "Hey Julian" because John Lennon's son is called Julian. What a great name! Strong name. handsome name. But very sadly, apparently, John never had a great relationship with Julian, and Julian even went on record later in life saying that he was even closer to Paul McCartney than his own dad uh, back at the time. I find that so. Like they say, sometimes a great man can't be a good man. All so many of these heroes of ours, people we look up to, Martin Luther King. There's rumors about domestic violence in his household. No one's perfect, and we kind of hold
with
up
with
these
the Dr.
images.
Martin Luther King, I wouldn't say the rumors were necessarily of domestic violence. They were more of the fact, I guess, that he had so many women on the side. And that in this day and age, and perhaps even then, he was 39 years old, so he was relatively young. And so the FBI stated that they had him with at least 200 other partners on the side, and that he had situations lingering. He never partook in all of them. The night that they took his life, he was actually on his way to meet somebody. Um, Obviously, I don't support that necessarily, but if two adults are willing to do whatever, that's their business. And that night at that hotel room, that's his life was sadly taken. But domestic violence, I can't say I, I I have heard of that, but the other side, yeah, he did have a lot of female partners.
Okay, okay, no, not a monogamous Christian minister. Another relationship from the same era. I was reading today about two of the greatest of all time, Muhammad Ali and Joe Fraser, and how they never really patched things up, and Joe never really got over all the abuse that Muhammad Ali hurled at him, even though every few years they would say something like, "Oh, we're friends," it's all in the past. But then he would sort of revert back to type, and he always called him Cassius Clay. He never gave him the respect of his new chosen name that he'd transitioned to. And when you grow up, you know, the movie always has a happy ending. There's always a moral to the story, and the people get on. But in real life, some people go into the grave bearing a grudge. It would seem. I mean, Joe Fraser passed away
I
before Muhammad Ali. They
I
never
don't know.
actually patched it
There
up.
was a program on Channel 4, and I think you're referring to that, when it was entirely on Fraser saying how Muhammad Ali hurt him, and going into all the details of what Muhammad Ali said. Now, Fraser's son said, look, he was just trying to build the fight. I'm not sure. And similarly, like Khabib Nurmagomedov, not sure why he was so angry at Conor McGregor. He was just trying to build a fight. And Muhammad
Well, I've
Ali
heard.
did say, after he was hurt hearing all this, or I guess watching the documentary, and there was a picture of Muhammad Ali meeting Fraser. So perhaps the last thing they did was they did patch things up ultimately, because when Muhammad Ali saw this or heard of this, they did meet. So
Well,
we
you
hope that it
mentioned his
wasn't.
son. I think it was Marvis Fraser. I read that Muhammad Ali called him into his dressing room at some point uh, after a fight, or I don't know when, and said to him, "I'm I'm sorry, I'm sorry about everything I said to your dad." And Marvis related it back to his father, and Joe Fraser said, "Yeah, but why is he apologising to you? He should be apologising to me."
Well, I would
And,
say, if I was Marvis Fraser, I would say he's not apologizing to you because he's too ashamed and too embarrassed to confront you and to say this, and so
mm,
that's why he told me to tell you.
and Marvis Fraser did fight Mike Tyson. Uh,
Oh,
and in fact, Mike Tyson won the world title from Trevor Berbick, who was, I believe, Muhammad Ali's last ever opponent. And Tyson also beat Larry Holmes, who'd also defeated Muhammad Ali. and I'm sure you know about the phone call where he said you get him for me, and he promised to get revenge.
Absolutely, and on another box on how I'm shocked by what I heard in the year 2000, there was "I'm a Celebrity, Get Me Out the Jungle," and I recall
Yeah.
the father of Connor Ben, Nigel Ben,
Oh yeah,
the
Nigel
Dark
Ben,
Destroyer,
the Dark Destroyer. I do
the
hate
Dark
Chris personally. I
Destroyer,
do hate Chris Eubank.
the
Yeah,
Dark
yeah.
Destroyer saying to a woman, if you say one more word, I'm gonna knock your block off."
Flipping heck. And that's the super middleweight champion.
But that was 25 years ago. So do we have to say, hey, it was a different time?
Wow, it was a different TV show. Zara in the chat is saying, "I don't know who is great, who is greatest. I feel for someone close to me, but he doesn't know me." This is sounding like an Alicia Keys song with a brilliant music video. You don't know my name. There is no grudge after death, in my opinion. Okay. Jog is saying rabbit. Is that a reference to maybe Tyson Fury, what he calls Alexander Usyk? I've lost track of the chat. It's probably half an hour ago people said that. Bobby Very saying, to be fair, he would knock her block off. That's true.
Yeah.
You knock most of our blocks off.
So if I could interject, it seems a
Yeah.
Zara 777, and when I read 777, a battery comes into mind. I don't know if there were batteries back in the day that were 777, perhaps, but she seems to be saying, "I'm not quoting any song. I mean what I'm saying." Now she's referring to someone that she uh, is after, but that person doesn't know she exists. So
This might be
what
Zara Sultani and
could be Zara?
referencing
Could be.
Jeremy Corbyn.
Uh, but
They had a falling out.
What? And it's not really a falling out. Jeremy Corbyn to her would be like an affable, avuncular person that she seems to admire, like a father or like an uncle. So I don't know if they can have a falling out. But what a great woman she is. Zara Sultana stands up, a young girl, 20 something years old, standing up in one of the most uh, toughest places in the world, I guess, in the sense that
Mm.
alongside 360, it's more than 360. It'll be one party 360. I think it's 660 MPs in the House of Westminster and House of Parliament standing up and speaking the truth. That takes a lot of courage to do that. Zara is continuing saying, "My future husband," with a big emoji of laughter. And then she says, "Just kidding, just kidding." Okay, so she took us down this road where we're now thinking, hold on, if you like somebody and life is too short, and if the person's available, go for it. And if he's not, don't dwell on the guy. Let him be free and free yourself. Somebody amazing is waiting for you around the corner. Zara, 777, good luck to you.
Waiting around the corner. That sounds dangerous. So don't worry, someone's waiting for you around the corner. Not literally. All right, we've touched upon Prince Nassim, uh, Tyson Fury. You know, Tyson Fury named his son Prince after Prince Nassim because he admired his boxing style so much.
If he really admired his boxing style, why didn't he name him Nazim, rather than Prince?
Well, I think he also wanted to portray himself as the Gypsy King, and of course his sons would be uh, a prince. In fact, I think he named all his sons Prince, which is a bit strange to name all your sons the same name. Zara has had a message retracted. We won't know what that was. Okay. Bobby
I think you
Vera is
need to
saying
get Zara
Argo.
on the show. She seems like she's got a lot to say, and it would be interesting. You need her on the show sometime.
Yeah, look the numbers there. The concept that I'm trying to promote here is that people send a voice note and then we listen to it. So you don't have to commit to, a full blown conversation that not everyone can handle. But we'd love to hear from people via a voice note. And you can play us a bit of a song if you want, but try not to play it to the point of a copyright strike. Bobby Joe saying, have you got a John Fury impression? Well, funny enough, John Fury's easier to do than tell you what, my mate, right? John Fury, right? He's like an older version of Tyson Fury. He's a bit gruffer and he's a bit more aggressive, right? I'll fight any man my age, any 50-year-old man. I don't care who it is. You can get it. He's a little bit like that,
And
John
if I
Fury.
may add that John Fury is slightly off topic, but I watched John Fury's statement regarding the AJ crash, and I felt that he was insensitive, but unintentionally insensitive, mentioning people driving fast and drink driving and so on.
Oh,
Do you
did he
not think so?
mention
Have
that?
you heard it?
I know he did offer his condolences, and but that's the sort of time when you've got to put differences aside, whether you've said things in the past, and it's horrendous what happened uh, to AJ and his friends in that vehicle in Nigeria.
Absolutely. And if you've seen the pictures from AJ, he doesn't seem bothered about it. He's just living his life like nothing happened. But that's his way of mourning. People are saying that he doesn't seem like he gives a damn, but he does. He's broken inside. From outside, people grieve in different ways,
Yeah,
don't they?
it
I remember
sounds a
Delboy in
little.
Only Fools and Horses, just having
I haven't
when
even started, bruv.
when
How could you
Uncle
get over it so quickly? Get over it. I ain't even started, bruv. Put a
yeah,
barge
absolutely.
in my pocket. Yeah, if you think AJ got over it quickly, you obviously haven't seen Charlie Kirk's wife coming in like a wrecking ball and dancing around with fireworks everywhere. She really got over it quickly. Something very strange about that woman, I have to say.
Well, to be fair, we grieve in different ways. Maybe she's grieving in the
We
way
do,
that
but
she's rejecting the fact, and perhaps she's in her mind, she's thinking Charlie's still here, or I don't know. Maybe she thinks she needs to be controversial. Who knows? But death is a terrible thing, and let's
when
hope
I,
none of us go through it. Let's hope they conquer it.
well,
Let's hope
we're all.
they're saying that the person who's someone born here,
Hmm.
someone who is alive now, will live forever. So let's
Who
and
wants to live forever? Who wants to live? That's
well,
is that Queen? Can't
the rich
can't
people,
do
they
a
want to
Freddie.
live forever for sure.
Can't, yeah, they want to try adrenochrome. Apparently, that's what does it. No, we're meant to live. Well, we're here for a good time, not a long time. Isn't that right? The only other impression that I haven't tried yet, but because I'm wearing this Christmas present jumper, is Vladimir Zelensky. I think this jumper, I don't know if you can see the color, but it very much reminds me Vladimir Zelensky. Give me more money.
And may I
You
say that
run
you've missed your opportunity to end the show on a high when you said that we're here not for a long time, but for a good time. That would have been
Oh,
a
I know, but
perfect exit.
I'm trying to make it up to the 1 hour mark. But if you're flagging, Omar, it's all right. You can go to
I
bed.
may have to vacate and allow one of your other listeners to come on. I'm not
Yeah,
sure how they're gonna come on because the number's not on there. It's not on the screen, I don't think.
it is on
If you could
the
put it on the live
title.
chat,
It's on the title.
if you put it
Um,
onto the, if you put it, type it onto the live chat, I'm certain someone's gonna call up.
Unfortunately,
So
I
I
don't
shall
know
bid you,
if I can find
if
you.
you
Yeah,
can, that would be
you have a
great.
good night, Omar.
I
I
bid
will
you
wrap.
farewell
I'll wrap things up
and
without you. I'll read the
goodbye.
number out. Thank you, Omar. Bro, I always appreciate you jumping on. Um,
It's my honor and pleasure.
you're
All the best.
you're a
Take care to
legend.
everybody.
Legend.
Goodbye.
Good night, brother. There goes Omar Triple T, the great contributor to this channel from day one. He's been a superb interviewer, podcaster, and a little bit of a comedian as well. I will say, if you want to phone the number, it's 07, if you're in the UK, I assume most of you are, although you may not be, 07886 993 784. I can't think of a good way to remember that. You'll just have to remember it. 078 07886 993 784. If you put that into WhatsApp, you send me a voice note. It'll be simpler. Zara's saying, I like y'all. You let me be silly on here. Well, that's much appreciated. Yeah, there's no rules here. We welcome all. It's freedom of speech. You can be as silly as you want. Come on with a fake name. I assume that's not your real identity. Zara777 might well be a 77-year-old man, for all we know, uh, and that's okay. We're we're all uh, we're all embracing on here. The last point that we were going to talk about, and Omar mentioned to me before he came on, was that Cuba might be in the crosshairs for Donald Trump. We've got Greenland on the radar. We've got things happening in Somaliland, sorry, and Venezuela, of course, and we've got Cuba. Would Cuba put up much of a fight if there was a regime change? We've got Iran. There's so much trouble in the world, as Bob Marley put it. Bobby Vera is saying we are all 77-year-old men on here. Yeah, what a club if we were 77-year-old men. And Zara is saying Five Guys. That must be the name of his favourite restaurant, possibly. I I don't go to McDonald's. I don't go to Burger King or any of the other rubbish that's out there. But I will admit to you that I have occasionally had a Five Guys cheeseburger, and I kind of kidded myself that because it's a little bit more expensive than McDonald's, it must be a little bit more healthy. But that is probably not the case. Zara is having lots of messages retracted. I don't know if that's YouTube doing that or if that's Zara doing it himself. Right, folks, we're well into January, and I'm still doing these regular live streams. I really appreciate you joining me. If you haven't subscribed, what the hell are you doing? But pass it round. We want to get more people involved. Look at Omar showing up and really doing me a favour to uh, get me a guest on the screen. Let's get more people. If you've got someone who's got a story or someone that's eager to speak on these topics, um, send them the channel and let's see what we can do. Yeah, Omar is great. Yes, he is. He's a really decent guy, and he's got quite a story to tell. Uh, there's more to Luton than just Tommy Robinson and the airport. And another thing that I want to do, not tonight, but another time, but we'll stick on a longer video, possibly something from Sheikh Imran Hussein. I know a lot of people that watch this channel are interested in his content, but we're going to go back in time, look at something that he said, 10, 15 years ago, and try to assess how things panned out. Was he right about what he was saying back then? Reynolds bought aluminium foil. Sorry, right. Yeah, yeah, we're all 77-year-old men, and we're tinfoil hat wearers. I don't mind being called a conspiracy theorist. It would be more of a conspiracy, be more of a coincidence if there were never any coincidences. All right, folks, this has been Lessons for Life, and we've had a good one tonight. I appreciate you joining me. God willing, we'll do it all again soon. We were here, and we are gone. Later.